ChrisMason, the cautionary tale of Chef Bones. The cautionary tale of Chef Bones, ChrisMason. Chew on these words, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Roll them around your tongue, swallow them down, digest them, and let them nourish you with wisdom and sagacity, lest you too succumb to the terrible fate that befell the inimitable Chef Bones. We used to call him Bones because there was nothing to him but skin and bones. He was a cursed man, cursed with the finest palate of any human being who ever walked the earth. You may be thinking to yourself, that should be a blessing to a chef, but it was a curse to Bones. It became the case that no food was ever good enough for him, for he could taste every single imperfection of everything he ever ate. I heard every excuse in the book from this guy. It's too salty, Chris. It's too sweet, Chris. It's a giant bowl of grease not fit to eat, Chris. Who puts this in their mouth? Nothing was ever good enough for Bones. It was so overwhelming to him that he could only eat one single bite of any food he ever took. Afterwards, he would swallow it down and reject the rest. I tell you folks the truth, you spend your life just as he did, eating but 3 square bites a day, and you too will become emaciated, just like Chef Bones. Incidentally, this is also why he became a chef. He knew deep down from the pit of his stomach that with enough practice and preparation, he could put together a plate so perfect that it would placate his palate. What he did not know was that this too would lead to his ultimate demise in a most unexpected way. In the days leading up to Chef Bones' death, he was conscripted to prepare a wedding banquet, vast, for the Empress of China and her 10,000 wedding guests. The task was simply too Herculean for any single human being to handle. So, he hired the help of the second best chef in the world, Chef Pierre de la Grenouille, a froggy fellow out of France who leapt about the kitchen left and to the right. He would lash out, grabbing spices and seasonings and utensils off the cabinets, just as a frog lashes out from its lily pad to catch a fly. He was a man of terrible, horrible eyesight, but he made up for it with a nose that had never seen its equal in all of the world. Using his prodigious proboscis, he sniffed out the finest ingredients in all the world, giving him an edge over nearly every single one of his competitors in the culinary community, with, of course, one notable exception. On the final day of Chef Bones' life, things were getting frantic in the kitchen. They were running short on time. Chef Pierre de la Grenouille was preparing a giant vat of consommé, a soup fit for a king that had only just come to a boil, and he couldn't find the bones that he was planning to add to it for savory and succulence. Through his thick, froggy accent, he cried out to Chef Bones, "Chef Bones! Ribbit! Where have you left the bones for the consommé? Ribbit!" Chef Bones at this time was reaching high up overhead to try and pluck a pot that was just outside of his reach. He indicated just over to the side and said, "They're hanging up next to me on this rack." Chef Pierre de la Grenouille bounded across the kitchen and began sniffing. Well, he smelled those bones that were intended for the soup, but he smelled something even finer. What no one had expected was that years of eating nothing but the finest delicacies in all the world had marinated Chef Bones' bones, giving him an aroma unlike anything the poor Parisian had ever smelled before. Without thinking twice, without checking his handiwork, he lashed out and tore Chef Bones' ribcage directly from his chest, casting it as he did into the soup. Chef Bones gasped as he hit the ground. In all of the hubbub, Chef Pierre de la Grenouille spun around quickly, knocking a spoon from the soup that flew through the kitchen like a shooting star, ready to grant one last wish. which it did as it landed right in the mouth of the dying Chef Bones. He tasted that soup with his final breaths. A smile crossed his face, for he could find no blemish, no imperfection with that soup. Using Chef Bones's bones, they had made the consummate consommé, the perfect soup. Chef Bones died that day with a smile on his face, but he still died. Let that be a lesson to all you whippersnappers out there. Sometimes too many cooks in the kitchen spoils the soup, but other times it spoils the chef. Mr. Concept Master.